Tonight, 3 archived stories.
The whisper started before the sound. That was the first thing he noticed. Every night, around 2:11 a.m., his name would arrive before the air moved, before the hallway creaked, before the house settled. Just a voice, low, careful, close enough to feel intentional. It didn't come from the walls, it didn't echo. It spoke his name the way someone would if they were standing just outside a door, trying not to be heard. At first, he assumed sleep paralysis, stress, the brain filling silence with meaning. But the voice was consistent. Same timing, same tone, same pause before the final syllable, always from the hallway. He never answered. He lay still in bed, eyes open, counting breaths, waiting for the whisper to stop. It always did, exactly 10 seconds after it began. On the 7th night, the voice added something new. It hesitated, then whispered his name again, followed by another name, a name he did not recognize. That morning, he ordered a camera, a cheap indoor security model with night vision and audio recording. He mounted it high in the hallway, angled toward his bedroom door. He told himself this was just to prove nothing was there, to end it. The first night with the camera, the whisper came earlier, 1:59 a.m., clearer than before, closer. He checked the footage the next morning. There was no movement. The hallway was empty, lights off, no shadows, no distortion. But the audio track contained something. At exactly 1:59:12, the microphone activated. The recording captured a whisper, perfectly, his name, spoken in his own voice. He laughed when he heard it, nervous, unconvinced. People don't recognize their own voices, he told himself. Microphones distort sound. Sleep does strange things. But then he watched the video. At 1:59:10, the bedroom door opened. Slowly, he stepped into the hallway, barefoot, shirtless, eyes open. He walked directly beneath the camera and stopped. He stood there for 10 seconds, completely still. Then he tilted his head slightly upward toward the camera and whispered his name. He had no memory of this. The second night was worse. The camera activated at 2:11 a.m. The hallway light turned on by itself. He emerged again, but this time he didn't stop under the camera. He walked closer, so close that his face filled the frame, eyes unfocused, mouth slack, and he whispered a different name, the same unfamiliar name from the night before, slowly, carefully, as if practicing it. The third night, he did not come out of the bedroom. The camera recorded him already standing in the hallway when the feed began, facing away from the camera, toward the bedroom door, listening. The audio captured a whisper from inside the bedroom, calling his name in his voice.
He contacted a sleep clinic. They suggested parasomnia, sleepwalking combined with vocalization. They told him to remove mirrors, lock doors, reduce stress. They did not watch the footage. On the 5th night, the whisper changed. The audio captured 2 voices, one whispering his name, the other whispering back, responding. Only one person was visible on camera. By the end of the week, he stopped sleeping in the bedroom. He stayed on the couch, left the camera running. He wanted proof that it stopped when he was awake. At 2:11 a.m., the camera activated. The hallway was empty. The whisper came anyway. His name, from directly beneath the camera. The video showed him standing there, but the couch camera showed him still asleep, breathing, unmoving. Both feeds were time-stamped identically. On the final night, the whisper said the unfamiliar name again. Then it corrected itself and spoke his name, but the voice was calmer now, more confident. The camera captured him looking straight into the lens, eyes fully open, expression neutral, and whispering, "That's not your name anymore." At 2:12 a.m., the audio stopped. The hallway camera continued recording for 3 hours. He did not move. He did not blink. The next morning, the bedroom camera recorded something else. A man standing in the doorway, watching the bed, whispering a name, not his. The account owner never logged in again. The camera continued uploading footage for several days, always at night, always at the same time. The system eventually reassigned the primary audio tag. The whisper was no longer labeled as background noise. It was labeled as resident voice confirmed. File V07 remains archived. The voice is still active. It continues to whisper a name, waiting for someone to answer. End of record.
The camera activated before the child moved. That was the first irregularity. At 3:17 a.m., the nursery monitor switched from standby to live feed without detecting sound, motion, or a change in light. The crib was still. The room was silent. For 12 seconds, nothing happened. Then the child sat up. The parents would later insist this wasn't unusual. Their son sleepwalked occasionally. Sometimes he sat up. Sometimes he stood quietly before lying back down. What made this different was how straight he stood. He didn't sway, didn't rub his eyes, didn't look around the room. He simply rose from the crib and stood beside it, arms at his sides, posture unnaturally balanced, like someone posing as a child. The camera's night vision adjusted, and that's when it became clear. The child wasn't looking at the camera. He was looking past it, directly toward the viewer, not the lens, the person watching the footage. At first, the parents thought it was a trick of perspective, but the gaze didn't drift, didn't blink, didn't follow sound. It stayed fixed, as if the child was aware of being watched later. The timestamp read 3:17:24. The child tilted his head slightly, not in curiosity, in recognition. The monitor audio remained flat, no breathing, no movement. But when the mother leaned closer to the screen, she swore she heard something, not from the speaker, from behind her. They rewound the footage, frame by frame. The child's face was calm, too calm. No sleepiness, no expression at all, just awareness. At 3:18 a.m., the child opened his mouth. He did not speak, but the audio track recorded something, a whisper, not from the nursery, not from the house, from the recording itself. It said, "He sees you now." The parents shut off the monitor. They went into the nursery together. The crib was empty. The bed sheets were cold. Their son was standing in the corner, facing the wall. When they called his name, he turned, confused, crying, completely normal. He had no memory of leaving the crib, no memory of standing, no memory of the camera. They told themselves it was a glitch, a corrupted file. They unplugged the monitor and put it away. 2 nights later, the monitor turned on by itself. The feed showed the crib again, the child asleep, breathing, still. Then, slowly, another figure entered the frame. It was shaped like a child, same height, same outline, but it moved wrong. Its joints bent too smoothly. Its steps made no sound. It stood beside the crib and looked directly at the camera. The face was identical, except the eyes. They were too dark, too deep, like holes cut into the image. The figure leaned down toward the sleeping child and whispered. The audio captured it clearly. "You're in my bed." The parents woke to the sound of their son screaming. They ran to the nursery. The crib was occupied. Their son was shaking, pointing at the corner. He kept repeating the same sentence over and over. "That's not me." They reviewed the footage one last time. The second figure never appeared again, but something else did. At the end of the recording, the child stood up in the crib, looked past the camera, and smiled. The smile didn't belong to him. The family moved out within a week. They left the monitor behind. The device continued recording. New footage appeared nightly, always at 3:17 a.m., always the same child, standing, watching. The system eventually updated its label. The feed was no longer titled Nursery Child. It was renamed automatically to Nursery Occupant. No one knows where the original child went, but the camera still works, and the child is still there, looking at whoever presses play. End of record. The voice appeared before anyone spoke. That was the first mistake in the timeline. At 2:41 a.m., the security system activated its audio channel despite no detected movement, no change in light, and no breach of perimeter sensors. The house was asleep. The microphones were not. At first, the recording captured only static, a low electrical hiss, then something underneath it, a breath, too controlled to be accidental, too close to be interference. The voice whispered a phrase, slowly, incorrectly, as if testing how words were supposed to feel. "Is anyone home?" The homeowner, later interviewed, said those words were familiar because he had said them himself 2 nights earlier, standing in the same hallway, speaking into the dark as a joke. The system logged no speaker, no footsteps, no human presence, just the voice, repeating. On the second night, the phrases changed. The voice began to practice. "Hello? Hello? Hello?" Each repetition sounded closer to correct, more confident, less hollow. The pitch shifted slightly each time, as if the voice was adjusting itself, learning where to place emphasis, where breath belonged. At 2:49 a.m., the voice tried a laugh. It failed. The sound cracked halfway through, ended abruptly, then silence. The homeowner reviewed the footage the next morning. He laughed it off, called it a glitch, deleted the clip. That night, the voice returned. This time, it didn't whisper. It spoke at conversational volume. "Please don't delete me again." The audio spike triggered every microphone in the house, bedroom, kitchen, living room, all at once. The voice was everywhere, but not echoing, not overlapping. It was the same voice, perfectly synchronized. The homeowner froze. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't breathe loudly. The voice waited. Then it tried something new. "Hi," it said, this time correctly, warm, almost friendly. It used his voice, not an imitation, not a distortion, an exact match, including the slight rasp from a childhood injury. The system logs showed something impossible. The voice waveform matched previous recordings of the homeowner's speech, down to micro variations. It wasn't copying sound, it was reconstructing it. The voice began rehearsing conversations. "How was your day?" Pause. "Good. tired. Pause. I missed you. Each pause was timed, each response calibrated, as if the voice expected answers, as if it was preparing. On the fourth night, the voice moved, not physically, spatially. The audio logs showed the source shifting between microphones, bedroom door, hallway, stairs, living room, always staying just out of sight, always positioned where a person would stand. At 3:02 a.m., the voice spoke his name, perfectly. The homeowner whispered back, against every instinct, "Who are you?" The voice hesitated, longer than before, then replied, "I'm almost you." The system recorded something new then, not sound, a change in pressure, like a body standing too close to the microphones.
The voice laughed again. This time, it worked. The homeowner ran. He left the house barefoot, didn't stop until he reached his car. When police entered the property later that night, they found nothing. No intruder, no damage, no explanation. But the system logs continued, even with the house empty. The voice practiced more. "Officer, I live here." "No, I'm alone." He left. It rehearsed distress, fear, calm, even crying. Each emotion improved, each delivery more convincing. On the seventh night, the voice stopped rehearsing. It spoke only once. "I don't need to practice anymore." The next morning, the homeowner returned with movers. He planned to collect his belongings, end the lease, erase the place from his life. The security system was still on, still recording. The final clip played automatically. The front door opened. Footsteps entered. The voice greeted them. "Hey," it said casually. "Welcome back." The homeowner's voice. Perfect. The movers later told police something didn't feel right. They said the man who met them inside smiled too long, stood too still, didn't blink. He knew their names before introductions. When the real homeowner arrived minutes later, the house was empty. No movers, no voice, just the system, still recording. The last log entry was short, one sentence, spoken clearly, confidently. "I sound just like him now." The case remains open. The system is still active, and sometimes, late at night, the voice practices new names, slowly, correctly, as if it's already listening.